we see Falden and Orion exiting a tunnel which seems to be lined in roots. As they get out, the roots close behind them, sealing the passage like a bioorganic doorway. They are walking into a rather well-stocked lab. We see them swiftly approaching a figure, a feminine individual in a white lab coat with azure skin and light blue, almost white hair tied up in a long ponytail that, even though it's tied up, comes to like the base of her lower back. And she is fiddling with some instruments and adjusting some readings on a monitor display, a touchscreen. Falden says to her, "They are getting closer every time. You must tell Kikimora to evade the witch hunters in this city. There is agency people to deal with as well. They have captured Sira. What do you intend to do about it?" And this blue-skinned woman turns, and we see she has dark sclera but golden color to her eye and a striking resemblance to the Meridian. And she says, "I do not see why you should be upset with me. If you have issues with Kikimora, you should, negotiate the deal you made slightly better." Falden just grits his teeth and says, "We cannot uphold the deal we made to serve as security if we are down a member of our party whilst the enemy brings in reinforcements." And this woman says, "I'm so sorry, but my research here takes priority. Without the product I create, there would be nothing for you to act as bodyguards for, no?" Falden goes to protest, but Orion sort of taps his side, and all three of these individuals turn, and we see entering the lab from what seems to be a long corridor is a pair of figures. One, a young woman with gray-dyed hair wearing a sleeveless tank, which shows off solid black tattoos that black out and cover her entire arms from the middle of her bicep down even onto her hand like fingerless gloves. The other is a barrel-chested older man with dark skin and curly gray hair wearing a janitor's uniform. The man is saying, "I really appreciate the help y'all are giving to folks like me. It's gonna give a lot of peace of mind once I get that license, you know?" The woman says, "I completely understand. It's frustrating that we need a permit for a gift that becomes such a natural part of ourselves. But the Foundation is here to bridge that gap. This is Lynette Lamar. She's been invaluable in making our hard work worthwhile." And she gestures towards the blue-skinned woman in the lab coat. The man tips his cap politely, causing the sleeve of his uniform to ride up, and we spot the beginnings of a whispered tattoo on his wrist. "Nice to meet you. Heard you had a mess for me to clean up." Lynette sets down her tablet and greets the two new arrivals. Yes. It's just that area there. My latest project requires quite a bit of cleanup. You can see the glass needs attending to." But at this point, we hear Falden drawing blades and sparks gathering in Orion's hands as they yell, "Witch hunters!" And a fireball is hurled towards the man and woman at the entrance to the lab. The world is full of wonders.
Magic is waiting in small moments.
And monsters might be watching, just out of sight.
But if you're looking to find them,
adventure is waiting to happen.
You never know who you'll meet along the way.
We are the Storyteller Squad. Hello, adventurers. Welcome back to the Storyteller Squad. Thanks for joining us for more Monster of the Week. Before we begin, let's check in with our heroes.
I think I'm going to start referring to Seattle as the seat because I'm Damien Edgecrest.
What?
I'm Raven Eugene.
Honestly, that's better than anything else I had for tonight. I'm Raven Eugenia.
Off to a strong start.
Did somebody call for backup? I'm Amity Steinbreck.
If there's one thing I know for certain, we're going to learn today about the power of family. I'm Hugo Rashad.
Part-time father and full-time daddy. I'm Agent Lonnie Whitaker.
Bless.
I wasn't ready for that. My face fucking hurts.
Sometimes I envy the parents who just get to send their kids to soccer practice. I'm in Brightwood. Let's have an adventure. Last time, our heroes got to enjoy a bit of downtime. We wrapped up lots of different things. Whitaker checking in at the funeral of King O's mermaid employee, Amity teaching Damien quick casting, Raven finally taking some time to rest and get over all the nightmare stress she'd been under. Gosh, what else happened? What did Hugo do for downtime?
Made the horrible mistake of introducing people to people.
Right, you went out to dinner with your mom and Anya. And then Miranda Rashad, CPA of Portland, told Hugo that he should go to Seattle and help out her friend, Iris Bashir, because there is a spell component problem plaguing the city. Miranda implying that she knows quite a bit about what goes on in her own city and maybe what her son is up to when the community center doors close. Aiden and Amity talked things out, and with Whitaker's help, came to a better understanding of where they're both at following Amity's return and the very magical nature of the world and both of their positions in it.
It made us all cry.
We all cried.
There was a lot of crying.
You turned on the waterworks pretty quick. It got me too.
I was in my feelings before we started.
Oof. Anyway, once that was all wrapped up, we took our camera and story up to Seattle, the Emerald City, and saw firsthand the dangerous outbreaks of violence that are occurring in that city because of the prevalence of a new spell component, unstable seafoam green gems, and also an uptick in people with magical tattoos which enable casting without components. We saw Rogue Team dealing with some of the street violence and Hugo visiting Witching Hour Soups, the new soup kitchen being run by none other than Carla Hernandez and the girls of Las Muertas Tattoo Shop. After a brief conversation, Hugo and Gabriela, Fernanda, and Mercedes were sent out into the world to do what the Whisper do. Meanwhile, Rogue Team went and spoke with CPA Iris Bashir about the situation and were able to deduce that some of the perpetrators behind this new crisis are the plant-like Leshy, who we've seen briefly before, but seem to be really prevalent in this city that is also covered in quite a lot of greenery. We followed Raven as she staked out the Japanese botanical garden and bore witness to Las Muertas and Hugo taking on a large Leshy construct, which began to spew out smaller, faster versions of these plant monsters, all seemingly with the intent to distribute these crystals around the city. And Falden and his crew of folk, who really have a lot of beef against Hugo, were also there fighting to defend the Leshy and aid in their escape. After a skirmish, Aiden reluctantly, but acceptingly, called Amity to invite her up to Seattle to reunite our hero group. And that's where we left off. So, hunters, what do you do?
Bleed a little bit.
That's right, you got stabbed.
Provide medical assistance?
Appear in a swirl of blue fire.
Is that how you want to arrive?
I mean, that's typically the thing.
Sure.
So if Aiden's phoning her in and she has to teleport there, then yep, blue fire.
Okay. In the middle of this stone, gravel walkway of the garden, a swirl of blue fire appears, and as it raises up into the air, it reveals the form of Amity Steinbrook with her staff and familiar.
I feel like she shows up midair and then just lightly touches down on her feet. What happened here?
Aiden turns around. She says, "Oh, I meant in the morning.
Oh.
It's okay. We have a hotel."
Gotta be more specific with your directions, Aiden.
Yeah, Amity just kind of shrugs and just goes, I don't know what you expected from me. You said, come here, and I showed up.
It's It's fine. It's fine.
You can tell she's been with the Fae.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion on what you could do or what you could help with as Damien is applying pressure to Hugo's stab wound?
Oh, dang. Okay, yeah. And she'll like scurry over and help patch up Hugo with some magic bullshit or another.
Okay, roll use magic.
For sure. For sure. That's 10.
No glitch. You heal Hugo for 1 harm.
Mm-hmm.
2 harm.
That's right. Resilient.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So what are you at now?
We're at 1.
Nice. Yeah, Amity, as you cast this healing magic on Hugo, you feel almost like, you're reaching out with your magic and you feel it being supported and complemented by the magic of Hugo's tattoos. And the two, when they mingle together, amplify the effect of the spell you're casting.
Dope. Love that.
Yep. However, Hugo, you hear Gabriella as she's helping Fernanda stand up. Fernanda got stabbed in the shoulder and she calls over to you. Hey, are you good?
Beyond every notch stretched, I'll be fine. Thanks, Damien. Thanks, Amity.
No problem.
Gabriella shoots looks at the people who you're like standing there being healed by. And she just says, I don't know what your plan is, but we gotta go. And her wings manifest from her tattoos. And it looks like she and Fernanda are about to take off.
If you guys need to go, you can go. You were never here.
Can I ask like a couple questions before you go?
Probably not.
I was talking to them. Hugo, I'll get to you.
Gabriella pulls a scarf up over her face. She's, not today, Federale. And they take off into the air.
That's about right.
Yep.
Said what I said.
Good for her.
Yep.
I had to try. Hugo, what are you doing here?
I could ask you the exact same thing. Oh, that's a horrible throwback.
Yeah. I think Whitaker does just kind of like sigh and like the tension kind of simmers down a bit. He's like, we can't keep doing this, man.
What's funny is the answers are kind of the same, too.
Yeah. Whitaker's like, doing my job. looks at Hugo.
Doing my service to community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of suggest that we get out of here too, just because we probably shouldn't be here.
I was going to ask, should we go?
If we're going to, we should probably deal with that.
We look over to where Hugo is gesturing, and we see Sierra Bramblepoint, the centaur, struggling in a bunch of magical spider webs.
I think Raven's standing nearby, making sure that she doesn't break out. Clearly, everybody else had it handled with Hugo and the bleeding, and everyone else took off. So I think she's just making sure she doesn't escape and trying to be very stealthy about it.
Yeah, Raven, you were the one who trapped her, but she is trying to cut at the webs to free herself.
If she keeps struggling, Raven would just throw more webs at her, I guess. Maybe try to properly restrain her versus just trip her up. She's also still got her octopus cloaking up, so she can just sneak around Sierra from a distance.
Yeah, you could web up her arms and legs in proper spider hero style.
Yeah.
No offense, Whitaker. I'd rather leave this part of the situation in your guys' hands simply because I don't trust myself right now.
Hugo, I was literally about to say no offense, but I don't think you should be here right now. So, you know what? We'll reconvene. Do you have somewhere you're staying?
Yeah, but don't worry. I'll find you.
All right.
Aiden asks Hugo, tonight or tomorrow?
When do you think you guys will be free?
We'll be back at the hotel once we get this one processed.
Send me a text. Let me know where to go. I'll meet you there.
Amity does like finger guns at the group, like, can't go with you to the agency without causing problems. So, Hugo, mind if I tag along?
When was the last time you ate, Amity?
I don't remember.
Cool. Let's get you some soup.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we want to ask Sierra any questions before we go through the, like, processing business?
Might as well before it's like officially on the record.
That's a good call. Damien's going to ask her, hey, when was the last time you ate?
Oh my god, it's the interrogation all over again.
Oh my god.
Does Damien want soup also? Is that why he's thinking?
Listen, someone is a little jealous that they are still on the clock and his other two friends got to go and leave.
Mm-hmm. I do love the visual of Hugo now holding his mostly healed side and zipping away with the snipe lightning, and Amity just like back on the staff. Blue fire following in pursuit.
Yep.
That's very cool. But I don't think she says anything to you.
Do you have any allergies we should be aware of?
Again, met with silence.
Is she even looking at him, or is she like fully ignoring him? I'm trying to figure out her vibe. Is it like purposeful defiance where she's looking right at him and not speaking, or is she like ignoring his existence?
Can we assume it's because he's a former demon, right?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's like the vibe we've gotten from almost every fae who's ever interacted with Damien.
Yeah.
Except for the cool ones like Anya and Mira, I guess.
Yeah.
Except the good ones.
I'm being so difficult for you. I'm so rude.
Whitaker, read a bad situation.
Ooh. Okay. That's an 8. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Whitaker, as you and Raven are standing back and letting Damien get in there with questions for Syrah, she begins speaking. But rather than answer Damien's questions, she's starting to recite something. By the snowmelt of the mountains and dew on spring grass, the storm clouds of summer and the bite of autumn's chill, by the
we have
freeze
to
of
stop her. She's
winter's
casting.
grass.
Oh, shit!
Damien, you try to stop Syrah, but she bites your hand if you go near her face.
Ow!
And will squirm and struggle as she completes the last portion of this incant. Let no words escape my lips whilst I am bound. This I promise! And a blast of green and gold magic pushes you all back from Syrah, and you watch as she defiantly glares at you all, while glowing green vines are etched in light across her mouth and then take hold, a binding folk promise taking effect.
Fuck. Is everyone all right?
So Damien will get up and walk back over to the centaur. What did you just do?
Syrah grins, and she opens her mouth and begins to move her lips as if she were speaking, but no sound comes out at all.
Have we ever seen that kind of magic before?
I don't think so. Just roll investigate a mystery, Raven.
That's a 7.
One question then.
Well, I guess what happened here?
What you're able to intuit is that this is less an offensive spell and more a self-protection measure that this folk is using to literally make herself incapable of speech while she's being detained by the agency, using the nature of folk promises and deals in a way that you've not seen before. But yeah, she's gonna be a steel trap as far as like voicing any sort of information to y'all.
All right, well, that'll be a dead end.
Fine. She just stabbed our friend. We need to treat her with respect, but we don't need to be nice to her. And if she's not going to talk, then we'll just have her get taken in.
You can hand her over to the local detainment unit. Agent Lake is up late at the office when you eventually are able to transport her there, just working away on some files and processing the many reports that have to be done after all the extra work the agency's been doing in the city since y'all arrived. And once you hand Syrah off to the agents on duty, your extremely long day is over. So you can all head back to the hotel we said you'd been put up in here for your stay in the city.
Is this an agency hotel? Because step 1 for me is remove all bugs from the walls.
I mean, it's a hotel that the agency has like the ability to book on demand.
Cool. I'm checking the smoke alarm for bugs.
Okay.
Yeah, I put one there. I'm a loose cannon. Who knows what I'll do next?
Oh my god.
I don't think that the hotel is bugged.
Cool.
Gotta check anyway, though.
I can make you investigate, but like, you're Whitaker. You would know exactly where to look. You've probably bugged a few hotel rooms in your working for the agency before. You would know where they'd put them.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, no, this is just, it's a room you've been set up with for your stay here. I also suppose that y'all would each have your own room because the agency would not be worried about cutting down the cost. I'm just thinking in terms of artists and podcasters who want to share rooms with their friends. But like,
Yeah, no, that's true. We would have multiple rooms. That seems more likely.
Yeah.
But they're next to each other and there's a door in between for ease of storytelling.
For ease of storytelling, it's a shared suite. Yeah. Eden just like gets on a laptop and her phone once you get back to the room.
If we're typing up reports, we're leaving the, I assume, whispered out of this. Are we all in agreement on that?
Oh yeah, less paperwork.
I wasn't going to mention any names, but I was going to look up soup places in the city.
Yeah, see if they deliver.
Are you planning on specifically investigating those folks?
I would like to know where Amity is going to be staying while she's here.
Fair enough. I figured they would tell us.
I don't know. Hugo is being pretty tight-lipped at the park.
That's true, which isn't unusual for him, but I suppose. Maybe you've got the right idea, Aiden. Maybe you should look into those other folks.
There's only so many pieces on the board we have a lead on.
Did anyone catch who the other Fae was? The other folk? I'm looking at Raven specifically. I don't know if she's seen, what's his name, Falden?
Falden.
Raven would have recognized him at least, right? Because he was kind of like the leader of the Fae that were protesting.
Yes. You probably would have at least recognized Falden, especially since you were there the longest and would have had the most chance to like catch his face even in the low light of the evening when this fight was occurring.
And he was clearly having an altercation with Hugo, which I think would make it easier to identify him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that was one of the folk who were protesting outside the community center. I saw Hugo have an interaction with him before. I'm almost positive that's the same guy. I don't know what his problem is with Hugo.
If he's in any way connected to the other shit that's been going on, he's probably one of Fowler's.
Can call or text Hugo, find out.
Do we want to invite them here?
I think so. I'm going to finish writing up this report.
Yeah, might as well.
Tell him to bring soup.
It's a great idea.
Hugo, Amity, y'all get the address.
Amity, Hugo. Hugo, you're leading the way. Amity's going to follow you.
We're going to take a couple extra twists and turns, but eventually end up at witching hour soup.
Amity, you land in front of this quirky little soup kitchen. We haven't really described the storefront of it. Do you want to take a crack at it, Hugo?
Ooh. Okay. Well, it is very much as if a tattoo parlor had been expanded upon and then upgraded to meet Board of Health requirements.
Yep.
And then further expanded upon. It does have some small outdoor seating. Nothing really fancy. It's more of you grab your soup if you need to. If you don't want to be inside, just bring it outside, sit down. That's it. That's all I got for it.
Okay. How many stories do you think?
From what you can see on the outside, just the one.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And last question, is it open 24 hours?
Assuming they have enough people within the community that are willing to help with it, yes.
Okay. I think we see there's a couple people sitting outside with bowls of soup, even though it's very late. We see the lights on in the like cafeteria area. A smaller staff than like the rush times, but like there's 2 or 3 people working the kitchen right now, keeping things ready. Honestly, probably the prep crew is here getting ready for like the morning cooking to be done and stuff like that. But Amity, the sense of several different broths and stews and other delicious soups are wafting through the air.
They just take like a deep like inhale and goes, "Oh, this smells incredible in here. How did you find this place?"
Let's just say I know a gal. Honestly, you know this gal too. And a good number of the people here.
I do.
You remember a very, very long time ago when you guys went and saved Whitaker's butt?
Oh, with Facebook Live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. As she just kind of like leans in and just goes, whispers to Hugo. "Is this like one of those whispered places?"
Oh no, this is a soup kitchen.
They give him a look, wordlessly saying, "But there's more to it, right?" Just eyes narrowed, slightly confused expression.
He's gonna give them a slight grin and find a place for them to sit down.
Okay. She'll join him.
Before you're able to get fully seated, you see Mercedes comes around through the doors that lead into the kitchen, and she sort of like takes 2 steps out, scans the room, sees where you are, and she says, "So you made it back.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Come downstairs."
Can I bring a friend?
Amity just waves.
I think Mercedes looks Amity up and down, and she says, "Is she one of them?"
Depends on how you define them.
One of who?
You know what I mean.
She's better.
Let's hope they can take the heat. Mom's cooking.
Big look of concern at Hugo?
Come on, let's go. I promise you will probably be fine.
Okay. I trust you. She's gonna follow him downstairs.
You both head downstairs, and you see there's some racks for dry food storage and maybe some laundry units. But the rest of the space down here actually seems to have become the new home for the Las Muertas tattoo studio. The walls are painted with elaborately beautiful murals. There are pieces of artwork hung up and family photos and frames on the wall. More racks with old parchment and possibly spell scrolls on them. There are several very fancy black leather tattoo chairs. And Fernanda is laid back in one of these chairs, which has been configured almost like a hospital gurney. She is stripped down to her sports bra from the waist up, and Carla and Gabriella are clustered around her. You see bloody bandages and gauze on some trays nearby as they treat her injury. Carla is wearing some thick tortoiseshell reading glasses and using a tattoo machine, but rather than a reservoir of ink, the injector has a quartz crystal attached to it. And anywhere Fernanda's tattoo attempts to spread, Carla's hand moves the machine over to intercept. And the needles, rather than depositing color, pick up the spreading ink of the magic tattoo, and you watch that crystal held within the housing slowly shift from a clear quartz to a smoky black. You are watching these women exert a control over the tattoo magic of the Whispered you didn't even know was possible, as they restrain the tattoo's progression even as it attempts to spread in response to a traumatic injury. And you realize, Hugo, how the Las Muertes group have managed to keep their tattoos in such extensive states and on the verge of complete without ever paying the price you experienced firsthand back in Atlantic City.
Oh boy.
Carla looks up. Welcome back, Hugo. Heard you have some friends in town.
A couple.
Amity peeks around sheepishly. Hi?
Carla's eyes kind of dart to Amity but stay locked on Hugo. They're going to be a problem for us.
Well, define problem.
Carla will hand the tattoo machine over to Gabriella, who takes over the process of tending to her sister. Carla walks over to the two of you, towering over you, Amity, and she gives you an appraising look. Are you a snitch?
What an odd question. As long as you're not hurting innocent people, I guess not.
Carla folds her arms, looks at you, Hugo. If they cause trouble, you're responsible.
Hey, at this point, it's nothing that isn't already known. Also, not a snitch, a witch. And a pretty good one at that.
Holds up the staff.
Carla nods. If the agency doesn't come knocking on my door, then I will know I can trust you.
That's not going to stop them from knocking on your door. Do you happen to remember, an Agent Whitaker? Or Raven and Aiden? You know, Aiden, the person that Dr. Singh once tried to drain a bunch of stuff from?
We left that group after you brought a bunch of prophecy to life, Hugo Rashad. Have you brought it back into my home?
History repeats.
History spins in cycles.
Isn't that the same thing?
Cycles you can't anticipate. Once you learn the timing. She turns around and calls to the others. Fernanda! And Fernanda kind of like sits up. You see now that the wound is like mostly closed over. There's a little bit of scabbing and like dried blood still there. Yes, Mum. Make sure you eat something and go straight to bed. The rest of you, watch the shop. Gabriella nods, Mercedes nods, and the two of them put on their dark coats that they were fighting in before and will walk past you, Hugo. Gabriella, I think, stops, gives you a look, and she says, they might be your friends, Hugo, but they're not ours yet.
Time will tell.
She gives you a very acknowledging look and will follow Mercedes up the stairs.
Is Fernandez still down here?
Yeah, she's like slowly getting her stuff together to go get food.
Amity's gonna go over to her and pull a cookie out of her bag and offer it to her.
She looks a little dubiously at it, but like offers her hand out to take it.
It's good, I promise.
She sniffs it and takes a small bite, then smiles. Did you make this yourself, witch?
I made it with Nana Margie, so kind of, yeah.
Not bad. Maybe you'll fit in here. And she will get up, hold the rest of the cookie in her mouth as she grabs her jacket and heads upstairs as well. Carla goes over to a sink, starts washing her hands, get the blood off. I suppose we'll have to find 2 beds then.
Well, that depends. Where you want to stay, Amity?
I kind of sleep wherever. Doesn't matter to me.
Better question. Does your mom know where you're spending the night?
So, I was actually supposed to be spending the night at Mira's before I got the call, and Mira's really understanding, so I'm set.
not quite what I meant, but okay.
Oh, you mean Aiden?
Bling. You get the text from Whitaker, both of you, in the group chat with the address of their hotel.
Carla, I would love it if you could prepare the beds just in case, but I have no intention of misusing your hospitality.
She says, "Your work in Seattle was inspiring to us, Hugo. We are trying to do something similar here, but we cannot change who or what we are. I would prefer to receive funding for the important work and to keep certain eyes blind to the necessary work we do. Unless your arrangement with these Eastie contacts is an officially legal alliance, I cannot see how agency attention would be good for this place."
There is no world I can think of in which it would be good for this place. I'll try to run interference, keep it at a minimum.
"Then I will prepare 2 beds." And she also heads upstairs.
Amity turns to Hugo and says, "I think you have a lot to catch me up on."
Yeah, that's fair. Any chance you have a way to move a lot of soup at once?
Yeah, probably. She opens up her bag of holding and pulls out some random
Tupperware.
some really random Tupperware or some shit.
Great. I think we're going to have some less than ideal conversations coming up. Some good soup will go a long way.
Oh boy. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. You can collect some soup. Are you just going to head back to the hotel?
Yeah, I guess.
That's the plan.
Rogue team, you get a call 30 minutes later or so. Hugo and Amity say, "We're here with soup."
Come on up.
They arrive. What kind of soup do you bring?
Okay, so we got the goods. There's some quality classic tomato in there. There is some 3-bean, something akin to a French onion, but it's not made with onion. You're not quite certain what it is.
I'm not even sure if it's French.
I'm not even sure if it's soup.
The brown stuff.
Is there any chowder?
You don't want West Coast chowder. We don't do it good here.
Damien, are you being picky about the soup at 4 a.m. in the morning?
No, I'm so sorry. This is great. I'm sorry. This is so good.
So soups aside, does anyone want to tell me what the heck is going on?
Yeah, that is a good question. What is going on? Why are you guys here?
We're doing the work. This is mission.
Yeah, aren't there tree people giving out explosion crystals?
The CPA Bashir called in backup from the agency, so we're here to help try to figure out, what's up with the crystals and where they're coming from, who's distributing them.
Crystals?
Yes. I'll show Amity a quick picture and get her caught up on what we know about the crystals.
Dope.
Very powerful magical spell component, amplifies magic like nothing else we've seen before.
Very volatile.
Oh.
Yes, extremely.
They keep exploding all over the city.
Yikes.
They're being distributed very quickly and very efficiently. We're trying to figure out from where and why and how and put a stop to it.
And I'm assuming you figured out the where and the why and the how?
No. Have you?
We got here 10 hours ago, Hugo.
How long have you been in Seattle, Hugo?
Less than that.
We are aware that, I'm not sure if this is his doing specifically, but this is Meridian's trade right now. And Whitaker will share the stuff that he got from Val's conversation with Meridian.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she got in that limo.
That's a good catch, Whitaker.
Olivia says it's King O doing it up here, and no evidence of that, so I'm inclined to not believe her. But the folk being involved, don't know who they are, but it looks like they might have been outside your rec center at some point. Raven caught a glimpse of them, but...
Well, the most annoying one is probably Felden. The centaur person is Syrah. I don't really know if they're an item, but they spend time together.
Do you ship them?
You know what?
Damien, it's really weird to ship people that you actually know. You're only supposed to do that with fictional characters.
I don't know how this works.
Spare us your professional commentary, Damien.
It was a question. I don't have professional opinions.
No, that was funny. It was
such an
very
innocent
funny,
question.
No, I loved that.
It fully feels like something he heard somewhere else and is genuinely trying to understand the nuances.
It's just funny because it came up before when you guys were making soup at Whitaker's place.
What is it with soup and shipping? What the fuck is going on here?
Damien doesn't understand ships, but he's trying so hard.
History repeats itself.
That's great.
Oh my god.
Damien, I'm almost certain that they're roommates.
Wow.
Yeah, that helps. Thanks.
So as for what they have to do with any of this, I'm not really sure. All I know is the next time that I run into them, we're going to have some words.
You can try. Damien, you might actually have made a good point there. I thought Sierra was just sort of incanting on herself as just a general sort of shut up and don't say anything, but if she's protecting someone she likes, that might incentivize her to be even less cooperative.
Hugo, we didn't show this information being like handed over to you, but I think it's important to note that like you are also aware that it's Leshy distributing the crystals, evidenced by the fact that you showed up with Las Muertas to fight a large Leshy and the like horde of them that were trying to escape. So like make whatever connections you want to as Hugo about that, but like I want to make sure we don't like gloss over that connection for you as a character.
Connections made.
Sure seems like quite the escalation from these people standing outside the community center, silently protesting to attacking and stabbing you in Seattle.
Oh, no.
What?
Oh no.
Sorry. I saw Falden talking with Fowler at the gala. I didn't think too much of it, but
Do you think they're working together?
there's a chance.
Like a third roommate?
Maybe less on the mark with that one.
Less a roommate, more a landlord.
Ooh.
Oh, those are the worst. So we know who the big bad is. We just go after him. Is he Seattle or Portland?
You know that Fowler is Portland based.
Has Hugo told anyone in the group about like specifically his own dealings with the Leshy during his vigilante work?
Technically, from my understanding, he's only had to deal with the Leshy once. So he would volunteer the information, but he probably doesn't have enough information to give any solid absolutes.
Sure.
And actually, he must have told you at some point because I think we established last session that Raven was able to recognize the Leshy because of Hugo describing it.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah. That information is there.
that is a thing that happened.
Okay, cool.
So if y'all want to connect the dots and be like, oh, maybe Fowler's involved too. Like,
Yeah.
Occam's razor, we gotta just kind of go with what we got.
Mm-hmm.
but Whitaker, trying to decide if this is an agency thing or an investigate.
It depends on how I am doing whatever it is I'm about to do.
Yeah, I might not even want to just give it to you either. I might want you to figure it out on your own. This mystery in particular, I'm trying to be very guarded with what I like let you guys just have versus what I like try and make you detective out on your own. So yeah, I think I'll hold off on asking for a role
Okay.
unless you say you want to attempt something specifically, and then I'll decide what it is.
I would like to just run Sierra and Falden's and Orion's name through the database just to see if anything comes up.
Okay.
Have they been spotted anywhere before?
I don't think they even show up at all.
Fair enough. Just checking my bases.
Yeah, like they are citizens of Sovnweald and therefore like don't have residence in the material plane.
Yeah.
We haven't explored what the like politics of folk being able to come and go from the material plane but not being citizens anywhere there, what that means, but I think
I imagine people can come and go, but as long as they're not doing anything that shows up on agency radar, they wouldn't be in the system. Like their peaceful protesting wouldn't be bad enough. Even if someone in the park threatened to call the cops, it probably still wouldn't make it to agency.
exactly. And like they wouldn't be able to give any I think this is an area of the world that is not caught up with the like strangeness of the magic. It's like you have people living in the world who don't actually live in that world in the way that like public records would care about. So yeah, I think they don't come up with anything except for now Sierra has like a something and you could add her name to the file now that Hugo's given it to you.
Yeah. Taking it back to Monster of the Week basics,
Yeah.
let's just do some like monster research. Look up Leshy in the database. If Raven wants to do that on the Watcher, the Grimoire,
Yeah.
that's also something we can just do.
Mm-hmm.
Would Amity know anything about Leshy?
Yeah, Amity.
Yeah, either of you could work together on an investigative mystery role.
Let's do it. Let's do a little
Sure.
get classic with it.
I guess let me give a help out.
Sure.
My sharp is now 3, which is great. It's an 8 from Whitaker.
I rolled a 10 to help out.
I also rolled a 10 for investigative mystery.
Also, something that I put in our game chat, there's the like different way to do investigate a mystery. Did y'all see that message?
Oh, I do vaguely remember this. Let me refresh.
I'll read it just so people listening know what we're doing. Investigate a mystery. When you investigate a mystery with your particular techniques and skills, roll plus sharp. On a 10 or higher, ask the keeper 2 general questions or 1 specific question. Based on how you are investigating, they will tell you honestly and with good detail what you discover. On a 7 to 9, ask the keeper 1 general question. Based on how you're investigating, they will tell you honestly and with reasonable detail what you discover. On a miss, ask the keeper 1 general question. They may answer it as they wish. Regardless of the question and answer, something bad happens. And when you advance this move, there's an extra result. But no one got a 12, so we won't deal with that today.
Did you kind of just give us the advanced move for investigate a mystery?
What do you mean?
Because the advanced for investigate a mystery is just ask the keeper whatever you want, which is almost exactly what you have written here.
Yeah, but this comes from Tome of Mysteries by the looks of it.
This is Tome of Mysteries specifically.
Oh my god, all right.
This is official game material.
Huh.
And it is specifically you get to ask 2 vague questions that are whatever you want, or 1 specific question that is whatever you want. It's changing the rules of investigate a mystery to deviate away from the like list of questions that are very much like, how do I kill and fight a monster? Like
Sure.
And then in the advanced for this, you get to ask 1 additional question, specific or general, your choice. So it's like on a 12 or higher, you get 2 very pointed questions now, or on a 10 plus, you get 1 very pointed question.
I see. I was trying to suss out like what the limitations were,
Mhm.
and I get it. I got you.
Yeah.
Sweet. I love that.
It just gives you a few
Nice.
more options. It's meant to be more flexible, which I think 3 seasons in, we can give ourselves a little flexibility.
Instead of stretching the existing questions to sort of fit what we want.
And like, obviously, if a question really fits what you want to know, you can still use those.
Mhm.
We're not eliminating that option, but we're sort of expanding what we have at our disposal.
Cool.
Is there any way I can use the classic investigative mystery question? Where did it go to start sort of scanning like security cameras in the area?
Yes. I mean, it would be...
Or how did they leave the scene? Was it like a teleportation type thing, or was it a...
So the large one like spewed out all the little runners.
Yeah.
That one merged back in with the tree.
Okay.
And the runners just took off into the city.
Ooh. Maybe we should try to find those.
Which is, again, full of other plant growth and trees in which they can hide and disguise themselves, right?
But we do know what they look like a little better than anyone in this investigation so far.
Yes. And also, I will say, Whitaker, what you were able to view at Iris's place was just like what she could pull up quickly. But there's like a whole database on what's been going on. And like, you know, if you've now put the agency on this case, it could be that you've sent a bunch of tapes over to agency reviewing.
Yeah.
And they could be like sending you highlight clips. I'll say that's like what you can do here with agency backup, right? Like
That feels appropriate, yeah.
so you get a couple new clips of people who they're walking down the street, they maybe look a little nervous or uncomfortable, and they will like pause in front of one of the large trees growing up out of the sidewalk and descending almost like a marionette. A leshy will sometimes drop out of the branches, or a low-hanging branch will just like unfold and it is the leshy clinging to the tree by its like rooted feet, do a little cartwheel down, and then just sort of procure and offer one of these glowing crystals. And there is usually an exchange of money. The leshy takes that and then and back up into the tree and is like vanishing. So through this, you definitely learn that like, yeah, no, the leshy have picked the perfect city to become spell component dealers. The environment is helping them to be harder to catch and notice.
And there's no way to indicate whether a leshy is hiding in this tree or that tree. There's just no way. From what we can get on the security cameras, at least. I just want to clarify if that is what answer I'm getting here.
In person, you'd probably have a better chance of like clocking one, but they are just made of plant materials. So yeah, it's very difficult, I will say, for sure. You know, if you were chasing one down, you could probably follow the movement of it. I will say that like it doesn't look as though the runner types, the ones that are actually distributing the crystals, are able to do the thing where they like merge with the tree itself. They're always either just like hugged up against it almost like a hide behind, or camouflaged in some way, but not actually like merged within the tree like a nymph or another spirit that could do that.
Gotcha. Noted.
Yeah. Raven, what do you want to ask?
Ironically, I do want to ask a regular investigative mystery question.
After all that, yeah, of course.
Yeah, after all that.
They're not bad.
No, they're great. This is so creature specific, they do actually work. I do want to know what can hurt it. And then I kind of want to ask for my other, if this is like general enough, I kind of want to ask where do they come from? In the sense of like, are they created or are they almost like animals and they're being like raised? Like I'm trying to figure out where do they come from?
Sure.
And I think she's just diving into the website and trying to find anything on these creatures.
I think in your various researching, you could be on the phone with Prithee, right? Like having them scour through like a book of yours, that you got like back at the Haven, and just, different accounts again on the Watcher's Grimoire or even the agency's database. Leshy, based on all this information that you're putting together, seem to be pretty, I don't want to say unintelligent, but mindless in that like they are constructs.
They're like little minions.
Yeah, they're being created by something and then animated by a centralized figure.
Okay.
They are summons, essentially. So in a way, it like very much connects to your type of magic, Raven, but this is a more like you summon and create a permanent creature, which you have control over, but you're like getting less out of them than like what you can do with your spirits, where it's like they're very powerful, but you can't just have them stick around permanently.
So it seems like they were given instructions to like go into the city, exchange these crystals for money and come back.
Yeah, they're getting directed by someone.
Okay.
Someone very powerfully magical in some way is able to both manifest and control them.
And then do I find anything else about what can hurt it?
What can hurt them? Their plant matter.
Oh, okay.
So you think fire and ice would do well against them? Hugo can attest that ice did pretty well the last time he fought one. Extreme cold, extreme heat, anything that would damage normal plants, because that is what they are. They are animate vegetation and plant matter.
Cool. Raven will share most of that with the group. Let everybody know if we're fighting them again. Anything that will hurt a plant. Chainsaws are still viable. Yeah, I do like the image of Raven with like her phone and her laptop and like an agency like Bluetooth headset talking to Prithee and just like gathering all this research and taking notes.
Aiden can be like on a little tablet, and anytime she like pulls something up, she's like, "Is this anything?" Trying to be back up along with Amity. Amity, what's your help out look like?
That's a good fucking question. Because all the facts that I thought of at the top of my head that Amity could have definitely known, you already went over. Would it be wild to suggest that because it's magic and they're being controlled by a specific caster, is it unreasonable to say that you can, if you catch one, trace it back to the original caster?
You wouldn't be able to tell that until you tried it, because each caster's way of forming bonds with their constructs is slightly different. So like you'd have to test it out.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think they might offer it as a suggestion. If we can nab one of them, we could potentially try to trace it back to their caster. I don't know if it works for everybody, but some casters, their magic is has sort of like a signature, but it depends.
We can try to catch one next time we see them. Do you need the whole thing or a piece of it?
Probably the whole thing. Alive.
That makes sense. Yeah, we can try.
Well, the trick's going to be finding them. I mean, based on this footage, they're basically invisible until they don't want to be.
Hey, Natalie.
Yeah, Hugo.
How did Hugo and the angels know where to go?
I thought you might ask. To be honest, I haven't answered that. I was going to let you determine what whispered magic do you think Carla and her group are using to track where these Leshy are spawning from? They've been at it longer than both groups here. Y'all are new to this situation. They've been dealing with it for the last month or so. And they definitely have a way of sort of predicting with relative accuracy where these Leshy spawn points are going to produce a bunch of these little runners. And I would like to allow Hugo to help figure out what that is.
So there's a part of me that wants to say that when it comes to the Leshy moving out of a space, There's something that happens with the ley lines of magic and nature and how everything is connected, in which they have to tap into it and cause not so much a change in it, but an accumulation.
Yeah, a buildup.
A buildup. It's something that someone who is very in tune with nature and stuff would notice, or at least they'd be able to feel in the same way that you can feel differences in pressure if you have like an injury or something.
Yeah, sure.
So probably that combined with having mapped out where they've been appearing in general.
Ooh, what if it's... do you want suggestions?
Absolutely.
What if there's like a community garden that maps out as like almost a perfect Seattle map? And like when different parts of the garden get a little bit like...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
If Carla's built her garden to be a map of the city.
Oh, that fucking rocks.
It's on the roof of the soup kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god, the basil's flourishing. That means there's a buildup of magic in this area.
I love that.
Oh, that slaps.
Especially it being ingredient based. Oh, that's so spicy. Hell yeah.
Well, it should be spicy.
Well,
Quite literally.
I think, well, here's the question though, Hugo. Do you tell the agents about this information?
Nope.
So valid.
Okay.
So fair.
Hey, Hugo, how did you know to show up at the same place that we were at?
Honestly, it was mostly dumb luck.
So you guys just like patrol the whole city?
How'd you guys get there?
Hugo, roll manipulate someone.
Saw that coming.
Oh god.
Yep.
Oh, wait a second though.
Wait a second, though.
I know what you're realizing.
That Raven's in the party?
Yup.
Well, but also, you know what Damien is a part of? The Eastie Agency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know who has a really good reputation with the Eastie Agency? An arcane reputation with the Eastie Agency?
Uh-huh.
Hugo. So that -1 isn't an issue anymore, at least for this one.
Oh
Hey,
shit. Oh,
okay.
sorry. I just put 2 and 2 together.
All right.
So there's a chance that this might go okay.
Until Raven says something, but yes.
Until
Right.
Raven says something, but we'll cross that. We will burn that bridge when we get there. Oh, hey, Raven, you saw it immediately.
Ooh, take that experience point, my guy.
What's the actual result?
Oh, it's a 6.
Okay.
So it's obvious to everyone that Hugo's lying.
It's obvious to everyone that Hugo is not being forthcoming.
I kind of like him getting caught in the lie.
Can I volunteer that Amity very specifically gives him a look?
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh.
It's just like a oh honey type of look. Why you lying? Like
Yep.
you're such a bad liar. Why you lying?
I may have fibbed that last part a little bit.
A little bit.
It takes practice. You'll get there.
How many do you have information to volunteer on the subject?
I was asked not to share anything, and I'm trying to keep that promise. And she just kind of like looks at Hugo.
Let's just say we have ways and means, which, for everyone's benefit, I cannot divulge.
Can you confirm that the people that were there were Whispered members? I thought I saw some tattoos.
Yeah, they're like pretty cool.
There's a lot of people with tattoos, Whitaker. That doesn't always mean they're a Whispered member.
Glowing magical tattoo. You know what I'm...
There's a lot of people with glowing magical tattoos, Whitaker. That doesn't always mean that they're a Whispered member.
That's true. There was that person in the fight this morning.
Did we arrest... Oh, that one. Okay, sorry, yeah. Hugo, are they friends of yours? Do I need to be worried?
Yes and yes.
That's reassuring.
Okay, how do I get around the no secrets rule that we had earlier? Because it seems like you've figured out a loophole, and you gotta tell me how I can do it too.
Hugo, it's late, but if we go talk to them tomorrow, do you think we'd get anything? Us knowing how to track these Leshy could help us actually fix it. They've clearly been struggling for a month to do enough to stop it completely.
If you were to go to talk to them, things would get bad. However, I can ask them if they want to talk to you.
We both showed up at that park to try and figure out where this shit was coming from. In that, at least, our goals are aligned. Is that something that can be communicated to them?
Absolutely.
If we meet in a neutral location, we don't have to go to them if they're uncomfortable with it.
Tell them we want a truce.
I don't know if a truce is the right word because we're not at war.
A temporary alliance.
A proper meeting of the minds. An olive branch, if you will.
Sure. We won't report them.
I will talk to them tonight/tomorrow morning It is late.
Or early.
Oh, thanks for that, Whitaker.
Buddy, I feel it more than you do.
I will ask them what they think, and I will get back to you. And in the event that they themselves don't want to help, I will see what other assistance I can provide.
We should probably get some sleep if we're going to do anything of import tomorrow.
Let's go to bed.
Hey, where is Amity staying? Because offered a place.
I think Amity can stay wherever they want to stay. We got room here.
I'll take the pull-out couch.
Amity?
Well, won't it cause problems if the agency finds out that I stay here?
We don't have to report who we share a hotel room with.
Amity, this does not need to be a major plot point. We can just move on.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Just pick where you want to sleep.
Yeah, no, this suddenly became a question, and I was like, I thought she was going with Hugo.
You can go wherever you want. You can teleport out the window. You can sleep under a tree.
You know what? Let's get you some culture.
What? What does that even mean?
Let's get you some culture. Let's let you actually experience Seattle. Instead of staying in a hotel, stay with the people that live here.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think she takes a second to contemplate, and she goes, I'm gonna go with Hugo just in case.
Yeah, keep an eye on him. Parentheses, affectionate. Parentheses, not in a narc way.
Mhm.
Not in a dark way.
Not in a snitch way.
In a which way?
Okay. You guys head back to Carla's.
Before Hugo goes, Damien will go to give him a hug and give him like a back pat, but then like Damien keeps tapping him and like checks his sleeves, checks around his collar.
Oh my god.
Okay, you're good to go.
Thanks, Damien.
I can't watch Whitaker all the time.
Oh.
Thanks, Damien. I owe you one.
I wasn't keeping track.
You guys head out. Anybody else got anything they want to do?
Raven wants to go to bed. They've been in like 4 fights today.
Mm-hmm. I think when you go to your suite, Raven, Aiden is not changing into pajamas,
Oh, okay.
but she will come over and sit with you.
Are you not sleeping tonight?
I'm going to follow him,
Follow who?
Amity and Hugo.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Hugo's being very dodgy, and I don't know if it's because he's in trouble or being him, but I don't like it either way.
You can do whatever you'd like, but I feel that Hugo is allowed to have secrets when it involves our safety and his, and the safety of his people too. We don't need to know where his people are. If he's trying to hide that to keep them safe, I respect that. I know you're worried about Amity, but we'll probably see them tomorrow.
Roll manipulate someone.
Okay. Raven's being very genuine in this moment.
I know. The wording of the move makes it seem nefarious, but like
Mhm.
you are manipulating her feelings and motivations in this moment in a like genuine sort of way.
Sure, that's fair. Ooh, that's a 7. She did say do whatever you want. She's not going to stop you, but she had to put her 2 cents in.
She will lean her head against yours and she says, "When did you get better than me?"
Not happening. Just be safe.
Can't get much safer than here. And she will stay with you.
Oh, okay.
And she gets an experience point for doing what you said.
Yep.
Yes, she does.
Above the table talk, Natalie, if you want there to be more tension between the agency team and the whispered team, we can make that happen.
I don't have a particular goal of like establishing antagonistic stuff. I'm just also reacting to how y'all are treating the situation.
I like that Aiden's approach is let's go to their front door, and everyone else is like, no.
The opposite of Damien's? It's so good.
You can't do that to the secret society.
Aiden was not going to like go knock on their door, but she was going to go see where Amity was staying and get like a hard location of like, if we ever have to like go just solve this, I want to be able to go get that info right away.
Sure.
Okay. I never know when you're going to establish another, like, Aiden gets kidnapped by the whispered thing. And I'm like,
No.
Yeah.
No.
We're making a lot of jokes about history repeating tonight. We can't have that happening.
No.
Natalie.
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't have anything. No.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't think she was going to go like bursting in the door anywhere, but me reacting as Raven, I didn't want her to go follow Hugo and Amity. They're allowed to have some secrets.
All right. Okay. Here's the real above the table talk. I debated just describing Amity and Hugo going to bed at Carla's, and then like camera window out into like the city on like a rooftop, and Aiden just like watching.
Mm-hmm.
I debated that. And then I was like, no, that feels almost too underhanded for Aiden, because she's not going to go somewhere without telling Raven. She's got to be a good girlfriend. So like,
That's true.
I got to go tell Raven.
I appreciate that.
And
the fact that you gave me that chance was,
yeah.
That's stupid. Don't go.
And you firing back with like, hey, don't.
Please.
Don't let this like worrying side of you be the pilot right now. That is...
Yeah. We're literally going to see them in like probably a few hours. We'll figure out where she's staying soon.
Yep. That is perfect advice for someone who knows their partner and like knows, what to say to get them to like calm down.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to be a good friend, you might as well be a good girlfriend.
And I like that it plays on the conversation Aiden had with Amity about trusting Amity and like not being so overprotective.
Yeah. I like that Aiden backed down. I thought she was still gonna go out. I didn't realize I had fully convinced you to stay completely.
Yep, you got her. But I do love the contrast of Damien checking to make sure Whittaker hadn't bugged Hugo, but not thinking to check Aiden. Or be like, like...
Ooh, yeah.
That's very fun.
That is pretty fun.
I mean, there's reasons why Damien wouldn't try to track Aiden.
Fair.
Hello, adventurers. You've made it to the mid-reel. Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Storyteller Squad. Our promo swap this week is with Game Master Monday, a bi-weekly podcast where they play a new one-shot in a new system with a new cast every episode. Let's listen to their trailer.
At last, I have reached the tallest peak in all the world, where the wisest person lives. Finally, I'll get the answers I seek.
Welcome. I am the wisest person in the world. Ask me your question.
What is my purpose in life? What should I be doing to achieve pure happiness?
You must stream Game Master Monday.
Come again.
Game Master Monday, the bi-weekly podcast that plays a new one-shot in a new system in a new setting with a new cast every episode. Listening to their funny jokes and wild stories is the only path to happiness, my child.
Sick. I'm going to go home and binge the whole thing right now.
What a nice kid. Oh dear, he fell off the mountain. Now they'll never know how good Game Master Monday is.
You can check Game Master Monday out every other Monday to find your next favorite game played by your favorite role players on Twitch and wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to check them out on socials at Game Master Monday. For our West Coast friends coming to PAX West this weekend, stop by our booth at TT4004 in the Summit Building to get all of your favorite cryptid goodies. We'll have some all-new, never-before-seen pins and stickers available to add to your treasure hoards, as well as candles and cryptid prints. If you'd like to stay up to date with episode announcements and have access to a bunch of content to share with your friends, drop us a follow on the social media of your choice. You can usually find us at Story Squad Cast. If you want to throw a little financial support our way, check us out on our Patreon. We'll say thank you by giving you access to an exclusive section of our community Discord. We'll share behind-the-scenes content as well as bonus content like our Talkback show. Good morning, Autumn Falls. Patreon.com/The Storyteller Squad. Okay, now let's get back to it.
In the morning, over breakfast, Whittaker, you get a call or like maybe a text message from Iris Bashir. And she says, Agent Whittaker, if your team could come to the city morgue, my wife would like you to see something. It may help with the case.
A lot of lore in that one text message. Was this like an immediate summon?
I mean, this is early enough in the morning that like it was on her mind right away, yeah.
We'll be there soon.
Okay.
Very quick breakfast. Let's go. Unless there's anything else anyone else wants to do.
I don't think we need to do a scene of breakfast.
Nope.
Let's go.
All right.
More Tisha, wife, let's go.
You guys head over to the city offices and meet up with Iris, and she will take you down to one of the like underground levels of the complex where they have a morgue for the forensics division. She swipes her like CPA security badge to get you in, and turning around to greet you all is a vulture harpy. This woman turns around. She's got shaved head, but then like white feathers that start at like the nape of her neck and sort of create like a little like collar of feathers.
It's so punk. I love that.
Yeah. She's got brown feathered wings with like 3 hooked fingers extending from a joint in the middle of them. Very like crisp, clean eyeliner and like gold band earrings on the like pointed ears that she's got. And she turns around, sees Iris. She says, Darling, what are you doing here? And Ayers says, Jamila, this is Rogue team from the agency. They're here to look at the corpse. You told me to have them come in and look at. The coroner nods and says to all of you, well, it is a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Jamila Khalid. Please, right this way. And she will take you over to a slab on which is the body of a man. Looks like he's in his like early 40s. Sort of barrel-chested, darker skin with like tight curly hair and a beard, balding, bit of gray in the hair that is left on his head, and absolutely covered in whispered tattoos, including the empty compass ring around his heart and the symbol of a bit of smoke left there where a flame once was. And Jamila, using her harpy talons, reaches up onto this metal apparatus and sort of like hangs above the examination table and points down with like a talon and gestures. And she says, This is Kevin Fisher. He was discovered early this morning around 4 a.m. They brought his body to me immediately because I am the coroner for unnatural causes of death. These markings were initially suspected, but after further examination, I found something much more troubling. But Jamila is interrupted by some loud voices outside the morgue, and they get louder as someone pushes past a civic aide to enter the room. We see a young man with chestnut brown hair in a gray suit with a soft pink tie who looks incredibly distressed and like he'd run to get here. He says, Is it true? They found Kevin's body this morning? And Jamila turns, shifting slightly from her perch above the table. Declan, I'm afraid so. I didn't know you knew him or I would have called myself. And this young man's shoulders sink, and he slowly walks up to the table and places his hands on the edge, looking at the body. Damn it! Kevin, what'd you get mixed up in? Iris moves to his side and puts a hand on his shoulder. My condolences. We're doing everything we can to find out what happened. And the man nods, grimly, and then for the first time seems to notice the rest of you here in the room. Excuse me. I'm sorry for bursting in. Who are all of you?
Agent Whittaker. Very sorry. He shakes his hand.
I'm Declan Stone, City Council. I'm with the licensing division.
Can I ask how you knew him?
We were setting up Mr. Fisher here to get his casting license. My department works with a shelter in town and other outreach groups to try and, there's been an initiative. We're trying to reduce the number of folks without licenses so that we can maybe cut down on the spell component trade that Miss Bashir and her group have been struggling to get under control. Iris speaks up. She says, Mr. Stone's department helps those who cannot afford the usual licensing fees receive state funding to take the tests.
What was Jamila's last name?
Khalid. Khalid.
Mrs. Khalid, did you determine what the actual cause of death was?
She says, I was just getting to that. I've run several tests and physically there is nothing wrong with his body. No trauma or suspicious injury to the major internal organs. But then I found this, And Jamila adjusts some lenses which are attached to the metal apparatus she's hanging from, and they project different spell circles onto the table by refracting the examination lights in different colors. And once they're focused correctly, what becomes visible are these red markings, which appear all over Kevin's body in crisscrossing vein-like patterns. And she says, "These magical scars are indicative of demonic life draining."
Oh, no, that's interesting.
I know you're very busy with the case going on about the components, but you are also a rogue team, the heroes of Atlantic City. I thought perhaps you should know about this.
Yeah, we have experience with life-draining demons.
Ooh. Ouch.
Oh.
Declan speaks up and he says, "Demons? I mean, Kevin was a janitor. He's not... He was literally just looking to get a license in case he had to defend himself. He wasn't really pursuing magic as a recreational or otherwise. I can't see this man seeking out that kind of connection."
Where does he work? Where was he found?
Iris says,
The report says he was discovered near one of the 10 cities in a public park.
And where did you say he worked as a janitor?
he was part of the staff at the new shelter we've been expanding.
Would it be all right if we went by there and just asked around about Kevin?
Yeah, certainly.
Damien, do you want to do any scrying here now? In a non-evidence tampering way.
Yeah, if I can get a sample, I don't have ice cream, I could probably make do with creamer. Do you guys have a coffee machine?
Whitaker's holding a coffee. He'll pass it to you.
Yeah.
Make do with that?
Yeah, I guess technically it would be like a coffee ice cream, but that's fine. Yeah, here, let me. And Damien will start going to like write his name on the side of the cup, but it's runes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are you casting and what's the effect you're going for here?
He's going to try to scry and see what the cause of death is. So Damien takes the guy's hand and puts his hand inside of the cup like you would do if you were trying to, sleep over hand in the warm cup of water.
Well, I suppose I'm not finishing that now.
That would be a biohazard, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Damien takes out like a salt packet and sugar packet and dump that in there too. Mix it up.
Roll magic.
9 and 2 is 11.
No glitch.
I don't have sprinkles, so it's not going to be like a color resolution. It's probably going to be,
Yep.
It's sepia tone.
Yeah, it's sepia.
Yeah, it's sepia tone.
Ooh, you can like dip a little like corner of a napkin into it and let the coffee kind of filter up and like form a little shape or something fun like that.
Like a screen on the napkin.
Observe another place or time.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
The scene you observe from Kevin Fisher's perspective, a fairly vacant circular chamber with some kind of semi-opaque wall surrounding the whole thing, with a frame for like a metal door where you would like enter this space. And runes on the ground of this chamber alight and appearing in a flash of sulfurous smoke and sand-sprayed wind is an imp. Almost small enough that like you would think a man of Kevin's build might even be able to like fight this thing off physically. And it just sort of appears there in the circle, smoking, looking around, confused. And then glyphs on the ceiling light up above. And the demon, their eyes glow with a sickly seafoam green. And this imp raises up into the air, almost suspended between crackling bolts of energy. We see Kevin is just sort of watching all this happen. From his vantage point, there's no like turning or running or anything like that, just watching this ahead of him. The imp stretches out a hand and it's trembling and shaking. It looks like it's possessed by something. And when it shoots its hand out, we start to see Kevin's vision get shaky and blurry, and a very faint gold trail of energy starts to be pulled from Kevin's chest towards the imp. And it gathers between the two of them, pulsing and flashing and swirling, and the imp continues to shake. We hear Kevin also now groaning and exerting in pain. We see as he looks down at his hand where there's a whispered tattoo that like goes up to maybe the middle of his forearm, and it starts to creep quickly up his arm. We see him look down at his other hand, and ink blossoms in the palm and then starts to creep up the arm. And that energy gathers between the two of them more and more and more, and Kevin's vision just goes dark. That's what you see.
Damien goes from his spot where he was standing to block the coroner and the councilman from seeing the napkin, and he puts the napkin in the cup, carefully takes Kevin's hand out of the cup, wipes it with a napkin, and puts it back on top of the table.
Thank you, Damien. Suppose that gives us a couple of leads. The seafoam green is, to clarify, to make sure I heard all that right, that came from the imp itself and not from any other source. Like, the source of the seafoam green was from the imp.
The source of the seafoam green energy was from runes on the ceiling.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we break down the events of this vision.
Yeah.
Runes on the floor, imp is summoned. Runes on the ceiling, seafoam green, strike down at the imp, and once it's being suspended in the air between this green lightning, its eyes are glowing green, and it performs the life drain.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
Okay, so they got a cool setup to use demons to extract spark energy from people. You've got to figure out where that is and put a stop to it.
It also means that the origin of the crystals might not be folk in nature. Demonic in nature makes a little more sense for the ways we've seen it used.
Guess it also explains why they aren't as powerful as the original Philosopher's Stone. I'm gonna go find a trash can for this cup.
Aiden will look to Iris. Thanks for calling us in. We'll do what we can today. Iris says, Of course, Miss Brightwood. I have every faith that your team is working very hard on this. What are you guys doing?
Damien's taking a breather. He's taking a little walk.
Yeah, quick emotional break on that one.
Yeah, that was a lot.
We can cut away.
Yeah, I think Rogue Team's taking a minute.
Okay, Rogue Team takes a minute. Y'all leave the coroner's office.
Yeah. Brittany, did you want to say the theory you had in F-chat out loud?
I would, but I want to say it after we've, when we cut back to us. I want to say it to just Rogue Team. I don't want to say it in front of the other few people, just in case I'm wildly wrong.
Okay, we'll cut back to Hugo and Amity. Your morning is waking up to the smell of a busy kitchen and the sounds of people hard at work, boiling and stewing ingredients to make various soups.
Would this be an inappropriate time to utilize Destiny's Plaything, my Start a Mystery move?
Yeah.
All right. So I have to roll plus weird and see what's revealed about my immediate future. Okay, let's see what happens here. Ooh. It's a 9. So I get a vague hint about it.
Okay. I think that night you have mixed dreams. In one, you're in the kitchen and Carla is asking you to prep stuff and you can't find any of the ingredients. And it's just one of those stress dreams of I'm supposed to be helpful, but I can't be helpful right now. You have another dream of cooking with Nina Margie and that being a much more pleasant experience. And then Nina Margie tells you to go out to the garden to get some ingredients. And when you go out to her little herb garden in the back, it suddenly sort of grows up around you, Amity, and becomes this very dark, forested area. And several of these smaller, leshy creatures begin to emerge from the plant growth here and walk towards you and extend their branches and vines and twisting roots at you. And I think a figure that is silhouetted by too much light, so you can't make out a lot of details, but they have bright yellow amber eyes set within a dark sclera, and hands of tendriling vines reach out from this person towards you, and there's a flash of many different sets of wings in front of your vision, and you wake up.
Sets of wings, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Like feathery wings?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, you wake up.
Yeah, they sit up.
Hugo, you're awake too.
He's awake and he's already upstairs helping in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think this is the first time in a while that Amity has slept in. And they get up and they dress themselves and walk up to the kitchen like, oh, I should probably go help. But when they arrive, they just have this very confused look on their face from just processing that dream that they just had.
Hugo, you've seen Amity look dazed and a little out of it like this before, back during the road trip days.
Oh, that's an unsettlingly familiar sight. Morning, Amity.
Hi.
How you doing?
I had a weird dream.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
And she'll like look around. Can I help with anything?
Let me ask. And he's going to go over to whoever the nearest person is.
It's Carla.
Yeah, Carla?
She's like tasting something. What is it, Hugo?
Do we have space for another one on the line?
Amity's waving.
Yeah, she looks past you, sees Amity there, and she says, 2 bags, potatoes, get them from dry storage, peel them up.
Got it.
Hey, when you come back, if you're up for it, we can talk about it. If not, we can talk about it later.
I'm up for talking about it, but I need to like shake myself out of it a little bit first. Just give me like a few minutes. I'll be right back. And she's gonna go get the potatoes. Actually, she'll stop and she'll be like, hey, Carla, I have my license. Is it okay for me to use magic to do the potatoes, or are you not cool with that? I just feel like I should ask.
Oh, she says, I don't know where she would land on this. You're like my youngest. You will use our hands to cook. It's the labor of love, and you can taste the difference.
Oh, that's fucking funny. Noted. And she's gonna go get the potatoes.
Carla says to you, Hugo, as she's like ladling out some bowls of soup, help me take these to the girls upstairs. They probably haven't slept.
Of course.
And you can bring 2 bowls of soup up to the roof to Gabriella and Mercedes, who've been on watch all night.
Please tell me that you two haven't been on watch all night.
Gabriella turns around. Her face is like, like huge circles under her eyes. Mercedes turns around and she's just like on her Switch playing Mario Kart or something. She's like slightly more chipper somehow. And she says,
Couldn't let any of your friends show up unannounced. So, yeah, we've been here. Is that breakfast, Mom?
Carla walks over, hands Mercedes a bowl, and she says with a very judgmental, parental tone,
It's not keeping watch if you're staring at a screen all night. Do you not care about your eyes, Aguilita?
Mercedes looks down and sips at the soup somewhat sheepishly.
Sorry, Mom.
I understand that you guys need to watch out and such, but if they wanted to show up, they'd show up, regardless of you watching or not.
Carla hands the other bowl of soup over to Gabriella, who just quietly thanks her and starts eating. Carla turns back to you, hand on hips, and says, So, do they intend to show up? You haven't mentioned anything about seeing your friends last night until now. I was beginning to wonder if they questioned you at all.
Oh, no, they absolutely questioned me.
And
there's some deeper discussions to be had. I did my best to make sure that they didn't interfere with things. But to that point, it is safe to say that they have the same goals in mind that you guys do, at least with some current situations. And I was curious if you would be willing to talk with them, specifically so that they have an understanding of not how we do what we do, but how you guys are able to sort out where the problems are going to be in advance.
Carla goes over to her vegetable garden, one of the bigger plots, and just sort of muses as she checks over a few of the peppers that are on the vine. I suppose we should also establish this is like a greenhouse on top of the roof because it's fall.
Yeah. One part of it is a greenhouse. One part of it is like a hydroponic setup.
But Carla says, So, they want our help to track down the creatures spreading the crystals into the city.
They didn't explicitly say that they want your help. They just want to know. However, getting it in the form of help, I think, would be nice.
If they want information from me, then they are asking for help. Information is not free in our line of work, Hugo.
They don't know who they're actually actively asking. I've at least kept that much information away from them. Which is why it's a question of how much do you want them to know? And where do you feel comfortable talking with them?
She says, If they're trying to stop the Leshy, then what they're doing is good for the community, at least in as far as that is concerned. And aside from last night, we've been very careful to avoid leaving any evidence of our activity within the city, aside from rumors. There should be nothing they can find or trace to indicate this place is anything other than a soup kitchen.
Oh, they don't know about the soup kitchen.
I wouldn't be so sure. Even if you are friends, these are Eastie agents. And you brought a lot of soup to their hotel last night.
I'm good at finding places with soup, what can I say? Although they are a lot smarter than anyone really gives them credit for, they've probably put 2 and 2 together.
Does this group know about what you and Rhea are doing in Portland?
I don't think so. We have this really bad tendency to ask why people are here, and then we just skirt around it. They let me get away with it more often than I expect.
What I need to know, Hugo, is do you trust these people not to shut down the home my family and I have built here?
When you say these people, do you mean my friends specifically, or the agency?
I mean this group, who you seem to feel comfortable sharing dinner with.
I trust them with my life and my death, so you can take that to the bank. Will they shut down anything you're doing? I highly doubt it. Will they possibly get into a situation where they need to make choices to make sure that doesn't happen? I don't doubt that. But they themselves operate on a different level, I would say, than the rest of the agency.
Carla takes a long moment to think, but eventually she says, "Then we will have a potluck. Tell them to bring something nice."
Potluck here?
If what they want to know is how we find the Leshy, the easiest thing is to show them firsthand. Maybe with all their resources, they can achieve what the 4 of us could not. I am not ignorant to the fact that we have been struggling to purge this darkness from our city for over a month. It's getting worse, and we cannot keep up with it, especially now that the folk are involved.
Yeah. Forgot about that part.
A monster is one thing, but this is bigger than any single monster. I am ready to reach across the aisle if they are willing to approach things on our terms.
Hey, Carla, question. By any chance, are you familiar with, someone by the name of Meridian?
Should I be?
I honestly don't know.
I don't know the name.
That's probably a good thing. I'll let them know about the potluck.
She nods and says, "Mercedes, Gabriela, get some rest. I need you in top form when our guests arrive." And Carla will step out of the garden area and just sort of go lean on the raised edge of the roof, looking out at the city. And will just sort of sit there for a little bit, wringing her hands. It's a gesture you've probably seen your mom do once or twice when there was a lot on her mind.
And at the current moment, while he sees it, he is too afraid to add burden.
Mm-hmm.
So he quickly sends out a text over to Aiden, just saying, potluck, gives the address, bring a dish, and then he's just gonna sit down next to her, in silence.
You stay there for a little bit with Carla. Rogue team, y'all are done at the morgue. Where do you go now? Who do you want to talk to?
We can go to the shelter to go talk to some other folks there, see if anyone else knew Kevin, if anyone was there the night he died, knew what he was getting up to. That is one lead. Any others?
That seems like the best one we have right now, other than damage control as more crystals show up.
We could also go to that tent city and see who found him.
There's a lot of energy transfer that happens with that process. I wonder if whatever Hugo's friend's technique is for figuring out where the Leshies are coming from could figure out where this basement laboratory place is.
Yeah.
We won't know that until we get to see it.
That is true, though. If this is continuing to happen, maybe we can watch for spikes in this energy transfer and try to catch another one before someone else dies.
Mm-hmm. I know we've left the morgue, but it was pretty clear that this was the first death of this kind that they had seen.
That they've found.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say that you know through statements given that the initial pair of folks who you stopped fighting in the street, that one of the people who was upset because their friend who had gotten a tattoo recently went missing.
So there might be a bit of a connection there.
It sounds like they're targeting people who have brand new tattoos, and then...
Honestly, we should go talk to them. We could split up. Someone goes to tent, someone goes to shelter, someone goes to talk to the person we got yesterday.
And someone goes for new tattoos to act as bait.
What?
What?
I'm sorry? Want to run that by me one more time?
I mean, saying it out loud,
Damien, as you are only 2 years old, I don't think you're allowed to get a tattoo.
you won't sign off for me?
Do you have a parent or guardian?
That would be me
Unfortunately.
as your acting father.
Aiden will jab at the jacket you're wearing, Damien, where there's the Eastie crest. And she says, "You've already got a target on you. We all do."
Ooh. What I was going to suggest is maybe we check out the shelter first and then the tent city and try to follow. If the shelter is where he worked and the tent city is where he was found, maybe we should try to follow his trail of what happened. We know where he seemingly died, but we don't know how he got outside again.
If you want to split up, you can split up. If you want to go all together, and that way you're all there questioning the people who you're going to meet, we can do that. It's up to you.
My vote is splitting up. I feel like the urgency of the
Sure.
mission feels like let's cover more ground separate.
You
Sure.
will cover more ground if you split up into teams.
Yeah, that's fair.
Aiden's going to go to the shelter.
That feels cool. That feels good. Raven and Aiden, do you want to do shelter? Does that feel?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do
Cool.
that. Yeah, let's split up.
Okay.
That does make more sense. And we can just table talk ideas for
Yeah.
stuff during conversations if we need to.
Yeah.
Damien, do you want to go to Tent City and I'll go to person in custody, or do you want to switch?
I guess Tent City.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, no, that's solid. I was trying to think of what makes more sense and where Damien would be more useful. And I was like, yeah, if we're trying to get answers out of someone, probably Damien's not best.
You also personally saw the death more than anyone else in that room. So
then, okay, so a retcon.
Right.
Damien is like, hey, Whitaker, I'm going to go to the Tent City. And you go to the person already in custody.
solid idea, Agent Edgecrest. Let's move out.
Okay. Raven and Aiden, you head to the new shelter development. It's a combination of rentable, affordable housing, but also fully state-funded establishment.
Is there a main building or a main office type of thing?
There is a front office, yeah.
Okay, that's where we would head first to try and talk to someone who works there or someone who looks like they're in charge.
Mhm. You see a woman with a uneven, asymmetrical haircut where it's shorter in the back, a little longer in the front. That's been dyed gray. She's clearly too young to have actual gray hair, but it's just been dyed gray that way
Mhm.
with some simple side swept bangs. In a shirt, that has the logo of the facility on it. It's a t-shirt that she's got on and some simple jeans. And it looks like she's wearing fingerless long gloves that go up under the t-shirt. When you get closer, you realize that all of that is tattoo ink,
Oh, wow.
just fully blacked out on both arms. And she steps up and she says, "Hi, welcome to the Stone Foundation Community Shelter. Can I help you?"
Hi, I'm Agent Eugenia from the East Agency. This is Agent Brightwood. We're just here to ask a few questions and look around a little bit. We're trying to figure out how to say this. I want to let her know we have permission from, what's his name, Declan Stone?
Mm-hmm.
We spoke to Declan this morning. He asked us to come by.
Her face takes on a kind of somber look, and she says, "Oh, you must have heard about Kevin then."
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I can direct you to really anyone here you'd like to speak to. I can go with you to make sure they know it's official. But if you could just not mention that, we haven't made an announcement yet.
Of course. Could we see where he worked first? Did he have an office?
No, aside from the shared janitorial offices,
All right.
which I can take you to if you'd like to see them.
Yeah, we'll go look. I was just trying to see if he had any kind of personal items or anything that might give us some kind of hint as to why he wanted to get magic tattoos or anything. This can be quick if he doesn't really have anything there.
She'll take you to the offices. You can see there's probably a desk that has a name plate there where he used to keep some personal items and his lunch in a locker. There's a picture of him with probably some grandkids visiting some mountain, that he'd hiked or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Roll investigate a mystery. You're snooping.
Ooh, that is a 12.
You can ask 2 specific questions if you want to go that
Ooh.
route.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be a lot harder than picking questions from a list.
Pick them from the list if you want.
Yeah. I mean, what is being concealed here is a very good question for this scenario. Is there anything that we as agents would notice that maybe the average person wouldn't pick up on?
You notice that in all the photos, he does not have any tattoos. meaning he got them recently.
Okay.
I think you see that he maybe has like a kind of modest setup, and that if you ask while looking around, if you're talking with this woman who tells you her name is Nell Fields, she says that like he got the job within the last couple months. He was a new hire. A lot of the people that work here are people that were hired in order to give them both employment and a place to stay, as a like halfway between like total homelessness and then like being able to save up enough to like get a different job somewhere else and a new place and yada yada. The idea of this place is to sort of cycle people upwards into better living situations.
Okay. I think my other question is, honestly, I just want to snoop around and see if the place we saw in the scrying spell is on this property. I want to know if there's like a basement here, or like if, as janitor, if he had access to, I just want to know if there's a basement and if that's where the spell took place.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I'd rather just ask someone, do you have a basement and can I see it?
yeah, Nell says there's a basement. She'll take you down there. There's the boiler room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's storage down here of like different like bedding and things. There's a big laundry room. It's got like college dorm basement energy.
Yeah. Does any of it look remotely like the place that we saw in the scrying spell?
No, but I will clarify again. What you saw in the scrying spell was a like circular chamber that you could not really see out of because the glass or the walls were like not transparent enough to see through.
Okay.
Like transparent enough to imply there was stuff beyond, but like not enough to make out any details.
Okay, cool. For some reason, I imagined that it had weird stone walls or something. I don't know what I was picturing, but I forgot about the glass.
Yeah, picture was a very specific pop culture reference, but you know the thing in the first Avengers movie that they get Loki stuck in, and it's like the circular.
Oh yeah.
It's like that, but with like smoked glass versus clear.
Okay, something very specifically not normal in regular architecture.
No,
that makes way more sense. Okay, cool. Well, we snoop around for a while, figure out that it's definitely not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once we walk around, we'll head back up. Raven will turn to her and say, did Kevin seem particularly friendly or close with any of the people here currently? Someone you could recommend we talk to first, maybe?
She says, yeah, I can, he was in classes with some of the other folks who are here specifically to try and get their license. I can see who's around.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Wait here, I'll go to the dorms. And so she'll go off for a few minutes. Do you want to say anything to Aiden while this is happening? You want me to move the tape forward?
Let's keep moving.
Okay. She comes back with a young woman who has medium dreadlocks and a red beanie and a rough, worn-looking denim jacket. And she says, Gwen, these two women are from the agency. They're here asking about the program.
Nice. Very smart.
And Gwen says, hi, nice to meet you.
Raven will introduce herself. I feel like they would have established ahead of time that this is how they're going to play it with the people here so they don't scare anyone.
Mm-hmm. Gwen looks super nervous. Once it's dropped that, like, it's agency stuff, and I think also, like, I'll give this to you, Raven, there's, like, recognition on her face when she sees the two of you.
Oh, great. Awesome.
But she can't bolt. She's, like, in front of the two of you.
Yeah, I think Raven's going to kind of just go into her usual, like, try to be very non-threatening, and I think she's assuming like, oh, this person's seen us on TV. Oh God, we're making them nervous. Oh, okay, here we go.
Aiden will kick on her soothe.
I think she's like expected. That's part of how they do this every time.
Mm-hmm.
If there's like a sitting area in this office, like a like front
like
lobby, I think
lounge.
she'll direct them to sit down and try to make this very casual. Try to make her more comfortable.
Yeah, Nell says, I'll just be over at the desk. I have some emails to take care of. So if you need anything or want me to answer any more questions, I'll be over there.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Just you, Aiden, and Gwen now in this little lounge area.
Great.
They're like sitting there fidgeting with their thumbs, like very, they kind of like curled up in the seat too, you know, like not like feet on the seat, but like very much inwardly projecting energy.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea what to ask this person in a way to appear casual.
I will also say, you can see on their wrist the start of a whispered tattoo.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, Raven will just ask, so how long have you been part of this program?
Just the past month or so. I just figure you get your driver's license even if you don't drive a car. Better to be covered, right? In case you ever gotta do something. And then if you do, you won't get in trouble, even if you were just trying to help. Hypothetically.
I think through that whole answer, Raven was nodding along. Like, that is a valid answer.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't need to be so weird about it.
Aiden leans forward and she says,
Gwen,
you're not in trouble. I'll roll charm. I'll roll manipulate someone with Aiden to see if she can get Gwen to like open up a little bit. That is an 8.
Woo.
And Aiden does not have -1 anymore because she leveled up when we did End of Mystery stuff. So it stays an 8.
Never thought you'd be excited for a 0.
It's unfortunately not enough to be helped into a full success.
That's okay. Better than a failure.
Unless you want to try for a 12, right? Isn't your help out advanced? Just know that like you're opening yourself up to trouble if you don't do so well.
I would like to help, actually.
Okay.
I do have an advance. Let's work together.
If you can get a 12, you'll knock Aiden up to a 12.
Okay.
So.
Oh, geez. That's a 7.
Okay.
It could have been worse. I rolled real bad on the dice.
All right.
It was worth a shot.
Worth a shot. What do you say to help out?
Since it's a mixed, I think she tries to also lean forward to be like comforting and personal like Aiden is. And it's just like, we're just here to learn more about this program. Like, it's okay. And I think it's just not. It's neither here nor there. She's not really helping, but she's not being threatening. Yeah. It's a little too much.
Either way, Aiden's mix on manipulate someone. They'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it. If you ask too much, they'll tell you what, if anything it would take for them to do it. I think Aiden says, I've got a friend with a tattoo like yours. They're pretty neat, aren't they? Gwen says, oh, yeah, they are. They kind of like awkwardly like rub at their wrist. I don't do much with it, but, look, I just wanted to help the other day. It sounded like the old guy was chasing someone bad, so, I'm sorry. I am getting the license, I promise. I just want to be squared away, and maybe I can do some of what I can do, legally. Aiden looks at you, Raven. You two would know that Whitaker had mentioned someone with a tattoo stopping the person with the crystal.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as she says old man, I think we were like, well, we know who that's about.
Yep. Aiden says, thanks for helping. We'll keep that between us. What sorts of stuff can you do? Gwen says, oh, really? Aiden says, yeah, I'm curious. My friend can do all sorts of things. And we're just looking to understand what types of stuff people are getting their license for. Which, Raven, you know is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately.
Of course.
But Aiden's trying to like ask some dodging questions.
We're on the same side, it's fine.
And Gwen says, well, I can make a small fire. It really helped for keeping warm last month. And she'll reach over to a like vase on the middle of the table. And she kind of hesitates as she has her hand over it. And she says, you're giving me permission, miss? And Ada nods her head and closes her eyes, bites her lip, gets real focused, just game. A twisting, sprouting flower blossoms in the vase. And she kind of opens one eye like, oh, okay, I did it. And she says, so I thought if I get a license, maybe I could open a shop or something, or like work somewhere doing that. Aiden says, yeah, I think it's a great idea. That's really impressive. Do you know what Mr. Fisher did with his tattoos? Gwen says, oh, Kevin? Yeah. He could move water, so, helped him when he was mopping. Well, in the summer, sometimes he'd play with the kids. He'd make like a sprinkler type of thing. And that was all? Yeah, as far as I know. He didn't really use it much either, but I think he said if he got his license, maybe he'd try and apply for like a job at the water plant. He nods and looks at you, Raven. Any other questions you want to ask Gwen?
I've got nothing right now. If anybody else has something you think I should ask her, we could do that quick, but I do not know.
Other than like the very basic logistical, like, did you see him the night before? You know, which I don't think are super important, but.
And if we're trying to keep it on the down low that something happened with him, I'm like afraid to get into that territory.
Yeah. I think this is a good place.
Now that we know that she's not suspicious and was just trying to help, yeah, I kind of want to back off on her.
Like, yeah, there's definitely the possibility that she knows more, but with the like tone and direction you guys are setting, this might be a natural stopping point.
And I feel like we could come back now that she kind of likes us.
Yeah, I would like to be friends with her.
Yeah, I want to help her.
She seems nice.
Yeah. Natalie, can she join the party? Can we adopt another NPC?
Can we keep her?
Wait, how old is she?
Like early 20s,
Okay.
maybe late teens, like definitely young. Old enough to like be on her own and like out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think we thank her for her time, and that was great. We learned a lot.
Yeah.
2 birds with 1 stone.
She says, thanks. I'll see you on the news, I guess. You guys are really cool. Sorry, I'm being weird. I want to go.
Good luck with everything. You've got some real talent.
Thanks. We'll cut to Damien was doing the park and like the tent city.
Yes. Trying to get some information on Kevin, and Kevin's not here.
Well, no, he's dead.
Sorry, referencing the McAllisters and Home Alone. Sorry.
Oh my god.
But instead, we have Damien alone.
All right. Damien, roll investigate a mystery.
Can't stop. Oh, investigate. Oh, this might be a fail. Oh no, that's sharp. That's a fail.
Oh no.
Oh no. Wait, what was the number?
5.
Shit.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna let you talk to someone. I will tell you right now, it's not gonna go well.
I'm mentally prepared for that, and I won't dive and expect there to be answers just out of reach.
Damien, you get to this area. You ask a bunch of people. A lot of people avoid you just because you're wearing the EC crest.
They can pick their reason.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, they just don't want to be bothered. They're like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I don't want to answer questions. Yada, yada. I think there's like an older lady and you're saying like, did anyone know Kevin Fisher? Does anybody have any information? She comes up to you. She's got a little cane. She says, I knew Kevin. What do you want to know about him? They picked him up this morning.
We were curious about what he had been up to before he was picked up. Trying to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else.
I know the kid that found him. Come on, I'll take you to him. And you wander through this little encampment and get to a red and gray tent, outside of which, on one of the like little park barbecue things, there is some like hot dogs just being grilled in a little pan, and a scrawny, suntanned individual. They have hair that looks like it's dyed often, but right now the color is sort of washed out of it. Shaved in like a pattern on one side and then just sort of like long and messy on the other. They've got like a nose ring and some very like colorful tattoos, but none of them resemble the kind that you've seen on Whispered. They're much more like casual tattoos that they've got. And you can see they're like sitting cross-legged in front of this little fire they've got going to cook. And they are feeding a little bit of a cracker or something to a small creature on their shoulder. There is a tiny mouse spirit with a wooden mask with the large eye holes similar to Windy and Whisper, like a little tawny mouse with a white belly, and their tail ends in like a tuft of wheat. And they're just, this person's just like feeding them, and they see you approaching. Bonnie, always coming by around lunchtime. Well, I've only got the 2 hot dogs, so your friend's out of luck. And the old lady says, watch your mouth, Trip. This one's with the feds. You're going to answer some questions about Kevin. And Trip looks you up and down, Damien, flips Bonnie off, and is like, why are you bringing him to my place, Bonnie?
Damien body language is sort of like, hands up, like, hey, this isn't big, serious Fed man coming in.
It helps that you're like not really dressed the way a normal Asian would be either.
Yeah. And so Damien's obviously, we're not going to have him get the tattoos, but I like the idea of him Sharpieing on the tattoo line around the wrist, just to see if anyone...
So did you draw a whispered tattoo around your wrist before coming out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that's a spicy extra layer. So when he sort of, hands up to wave, it, helps flash it a little bit. And they start talking about foods. So it's like, hey, I've got some food here too. I got some bananas, I got some snacks and stuff.
When you raise your hands up, Trip, their eyes dart from Bonnie to you, and they suddenly get like a kind of like very like surprised look. And they're like, I don't want nothing you got, man. I'm not interested.
Oh, interesting. See, I figured. And Damien will lick his thumb and wipe away part of the Sharpie mark.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real, man. I'm trying to figure out what's happening to the tattooed people.
Fucking nothing good.
Right?
He's like, yo, do you know about them? What is their thing? Everyone I know who's been involved in that shit, I don't fucking trust it, man. You cannot trust those people with the tattoos. They're bad news. They've been popping up a bunch last few months. Tons of people I know just showing up with them, and then they're gone.
It's tough because the tattoos are powerful and dangerous, and as anything can be used for helpful or unhelpful things. Seeing people get torched or hurt, and obviously that's not anything we want. So I can't imagine you guys know too much, but if you know places I should avoid, or places that you're trying to avoid that we can go look into for you, I'm happy to. I mean,
he says, I'm good right here, and I don't want anything to do with those tattoo people. So you are lucky you just wiped that away, man. You were about to get a face full of coals, sir.
Oh, don't, man. No, you don't sir me, man. No, it's all good. Hey, enjoy the rest of your day, and if you need anything, let me know. I guess, do you want the snacks and food now that you know I'm not a tattoo man?
Trip says, Fui, go get the bag. And the little mouse just like goes off their shoulder, goes into the tent, and like this little mouse comes out of the tent dragging like a big backpack. Like they've just like bitten onto the, handle it and pull out this like big camping backpack and like pull it over. It's like, thanks, buddy. Ruffles around. And he's like, all right, I'll snack trade with you. What do you got?
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, do you have any Oreos? I'm dying for some chocolate. I've just been packing healthy stuff. It's like granola bars and fruits.
Reaches around in the bag. I got mint Oreos. It was a bad trade. I was high.
You're fine. I'm here for the chocolate parts, the crackers on this case anyway. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. They trade snacks with you. And I guess the bad part is that they trade you a mint Oreo, which is
ugh, the perfect choice.
There's your punishment for failing.
There's my 5. Thank you.
That's about all you get. Trip was the one who found Kevin. Didn't know Kevin, but has this like ongoing suspicion against people with tattoos. Okay, Whitaker, you're going to talk to...
the person who was picked up the other day, the guy we took in who was talking about his friend who went missing.
Yeah, they're still going through agency processing while the charges for casting with an illegal spell component are put on the books and court dates are scheduled, et cetera, et cetera. So you're able to find and talk to them.
Yeah. I know we like need more information, but I don't really want to dwell on this too much because I don't want this to be an interrogation. I want Whitaker to just meet with him and say, hey, they found this guy this morning. He's dead. Here's what we think happened. Was this a friend of yours? And if he volunteers information, he does. And if he doesn't, he leaves. The tone is more somber than it is interrogatory.
Then roll manipulate someone, see what information you can get out of this person.
None. It's a 4.
Oof. Yeah, I think what you get is that this person who, again, was caught using one of the stones, and like the information in their file says that they're here in Seattle at some college, full ride paid for by like their rich parents. They've got a lot of spending money, and that like someone they knew in the city who would like occasionally get them less potent but still like slightly illicit spell components is the person who went missing. They also have sort of a bone to pick with anyone bearing the tattoos, especially since ever since the person that they knew got one, they were less and less willing to deal with this person, which is why they had to go find a different source for components.
The person who went missing was Kevin or was not Kevin?
Was not.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, gotcha. Then I suppose that's that. With the role that I have, I don't know if it is worth it to keep asking questions.
We can have you all reconvene. And like, just to go over things, you reconnected with Gwen. You know from her and from investigating Kevin's like office space that he was not like a power hungry person who would have been like pushing his tattoos for any nefarious reasons. But you also, with Damien's scrying spell, know that like they were advanced because of whatever life draining ritual was done to him. You know that he's not the only person with a tattoo to go missing. And you know the Leshy are the ones dealing and supplying these things everywhere.
Us being mostly unsuccessful with getting information from the people of this town feels thematically appropriate.
Yeah.
Because we're feds and people don't want to talk to us.
Especially, vulnerable people don't want to talk to us. And that's valid.
The dice want to tell a story.
Wow.
Isn't that the tension? We need the Whispered's help because they're actually a part of this community and we are not.
We just showed up.
I think that's like perfectly appropriate.
That's perfect.
I think that's rad as fuck.
Good.
We need the Whispered even more now.
Rogue Team, you reconvene. We see, as you are approaching Witching Hour Soups, Hugo and Carla waiting outside as y'all pull up on your bikes. What'd you bring to the potluck?
Store-bought apple pie.
You know what? I'll help you out one. I was going to say Raven went to a local bakery to bring some nice bread. And so maybe Damien got a locally made bakery apple pie and not like a supermarket one.
No, he got the supermarket and then you sort of corrected him with it's sort of a faux pas to do. So then he's like went and got the second nicer apple pie.
At least like support a local business. Like if we can't cook ourselves, we should try to.
I mean, you're in Seattle. You guys could just go to Pike's Place. There's probably all sorts of like pies and bread that you can get there that'd be like really fresh and really good quality. Sounds like you guys bring a lot of like dessert and then the bread as the side to go with whatever soup is being offered. I like that.
Like we're not gonna show up with soup or any kind of main course.
Right. Carla takes note of this, and as you guys are like approaching, she's like looking over the bags you've all got, and she whispers to Hugo, "They seem to have some manners."
They've learned.
Let's see how dinner goes. And she will turn to go inside before you guys make it up to the entrance and leave Hugo there to greet you.
Is he greeting them?
Yeah, your friends are here. They've arrived.
Glad you guys could make it. To explain some things real quick. Yes, this is kind of what it looks like. Yes, it's people that you think it is. I'm going to trust you to be cool about it as best you can.
Yeah, Hugo, I'll try to be cool around the person who was there for my near execution.
And my kidnapping?
To be fair, near execution. I got nothing for you, Aiden. I'm sorry.
Successful kidnapping.
Yeah, it was a pretty successful kidnapping.
That was them being...
But we did rescue you, though.
She says, "Let's eat and see what they have to say."
Thanks for setting this up, Hugo.
Yeah, it means a lot.
Don't thank me yet.
Well, thank you for setting it up. We'll see how it actually goes.
And he will lead them inside.
And that's where we'll end our session.
Whee!
We'll pick up next episode with potluck at Las Muertes' soup kitchen.
And we cut to the kitchen and Amity's still peeling potatoes.
She just finished the last one and she's covered in potato peels in her hair.
Oh my god.
And Fernanda comes over and she's like,
If you're still in a helpful mood, my shoulder is still pretty messed up.
And then she holds up a bag of onions.
Wow.
Wow.
Earning your dues.
Thanks for coming to Seattle, Amity.